I mean, I only ate at Dos Pinos because it was convenient.
Yeah.
Not because I never chose to go eat there out of work hours. There are places near CNET that I would go and eat, even if it wasn't a work day, because it was good.
Like Henry Hunane's?
Yeah, Henry's Hunan's a great example.
And Meeful with their curry in a hurry.
That's the lunch. Name of her, that. I never could remember the name of that place.
Mehfil. Mehfil.
But still, I couldn't even remember it either way.
They moved down the block on Second, closer.
Really?
Closer to Market. I don't know if they still do the same lunch thing, but man, that lunch stuff they did was so great.
$5 or less.
$5 and $2 for naan.
Good.
So
good. Here we are talking about food again. We actually got some emails from people regarding our post-show food. Well, try to remind me. I'll look at them after the show. People responding to us talking about Mexican food. Alan Char was basically saying he thinks pretty much all Mexican food in the U.S. is Tex-Mex.
Who said what?
Alan Char said that. Hey, Justin.
Yes, sir.
All right. I thought your mouth was moving and I didn't hear you, but I hear you now.
No, I was just trying to wolf down all this
Tex-Mex.
Oh, this Los Contaros.
Los Contaros. Love that place.
That's where I went.
I always get the Tampico salad.
Yeah, they actually just did some renovations. And by the way, they wound up buying and renovating and reopening the sushi place across the street, which
no kidding.
It was Take.
Yeah.
Now, Kinja.
Huh. I never really went to that sushi place across the street because I heard it wasn't very good.
It wasn't. Now it's better. It now kind of ranks above Coach Sushi.
There's something weird with your audio, like there's damping on it, or
check 1 2 3. Might also just have some phlegm here.
All right, maybe that's it. Are you ready to roll?
Oh, need control.
Oh shoot, I never gave you control.
Also, I kind of figured out what was flaky about my machine, and I think it's my touchpad or trackpad is going.
So it was a mouse thing.
Well, yeah, so I'll need to buy one off eBay because I'm not going to spend $80 for a replacement pad. I can spend $32.
Let's roll. Here we go. Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by you. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, April 13th, 2017. I'm Tom Merritt. Justin Robert Young, are you ready for quick hits? We got lots of quick hits today.
I'm so excited for some quick hits.
We are going to talk a little bit about Amazon a little later on in the show, but let's start with a few tech things you should know. Microsoft's rolling out a refund system for video games. Right now, you can only get it if you're one of the insiders on the Insider program. But if you purchase a game on either the Xbox One or Windows App Store, you can return it for a full refund within 14 days of purchase if you've played less than 2 hours.
Seems consumer friendly and keeping up with the Steamers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Keeping up with the Steamers, which makes me think of the old Major Indoor Soccer League team in St. Louis. But you mean Steam, the video game store.
Sure. Or Stanley. Elon Musk says it will unveil the Tesla semi-truck in September. He goes on to say in a tweet that it is truly next level.
Oh, a next level semi-truck. I see. Does that mean it's a double-decker?
Exactly. One of those London buses.
Google sent out a press invite to unveil the new Google Earth on April 18th. Did you forget about Google Earth? If you're not a VR fan, you might have. Google Earth's last major update was the desktop version 7.1 in April 2013. So 4 years later, we're getting a new Google Earth. Google Earth.
Sure, and only 2 days off from the target demo for people who just stare at Google Earth for hours on end. Microsoft sent out invites for its E3 briefing on the Xbox Sunday, June 11th at 2 p.m. and confirmed that it will focus on Project Scorpio as expected.
No shocker there, but the invites are out. That's official. It's good. Here's a shocker, though. Nintendo announced that in April, North America will receive the last shipments of the NES Classic Edition for the year. Or as some people have titled it, Nintendo decides it doesn't want money. Nintendo said in a statement to The Verge, "We understand that it has been difficult for many consumers to find a system, and for that we apologize." But we're cutting them off anyway.
Are they trying to start it right? Is this like one of those stabilizing things?
This is Nintendo logic, right? Like somewhere in there, this makes sense to them, but the rest of us are like, what, why would you do that?
There's some spreadsheet in which a negative value has popped up, and they're like, well, we got to pull the plug.
Yeah. CNBC sources say that over the last 5 years, Apple has been working on a non-invasive sensor or sensors to monitor blood sugar levels and help treat diabetes. Apple reportedly is conducting feasibility trials at clinical sites in the Bay Area, has hired consultants to help with the regulatory requirements, and has a staff of about 30 people. Scott Wilhelm wrote in already about this. He said, look, this would be a huge benefit to those of us with diabetes, especially those like me with type 1. I do have a continuous glucose monitor that does involve a sensor, but I have to pierce my skin to wear it. And it's still a godsend to just put on an Apple Watch and never pierce my skin again and have it be as accurate as the one I wear now. Stuff I only dreamed of 35 years ago. Here's to hoping it works and that you can find some time for this on today's show. Well, we did find some time for this on today's show, Scott. And yeah, I mean, this is a CNBC report. We don't have a product out there, but it sounds like it is a product that's being tested.
And that's really what kind of makes me wonder where in the grand chain of Apple production from idea to unveiling this is. Because you would suspect that something that needs as much regulatory oversight as a health device like this will or would, that you kind of think, okay, is this the next Apple Watch? Is it the Apple Watch after that? Is it just a pie in the sky idea that maybe if they can get it work, they could release another device or something that maybe does something with it? It's a really awesome idea. It would make an Apple Watch, let's say, go from, hey, this is a nice thing, I enjoy iOS, and now I want to have alerts on my wrist, to kind of a must-have, right?
Well, if you're a diabetes sufferer, absolutely becomes a must-have, or I certainly would like to have that way more than the thing I have now. People in the chat room are saying, yeah, W. Scottus 1 says, I'm sure my parents would drop $300 for an Apple Watch if this were the case. It only, in this particular case, it's only a must-have for a diabetes sufferer. Sure. But we know that Apple is looking at other medical research and doing other things. And so this could also apply to other maladies and other monitoring. And at a certain point, if you get enough of a patchwork of these sorts of things, Apple could easily spin off a medical version of the watch, and suddenly a wearable that makes sense appears. And it's the Apple Health Band or something like that.
Well,
that's not how they would name it. But
you absolutely nailed it. It's to have something that gives you biometrics that actually affect your life and don't just spit back to you random numbers that you have no idea about.
Right. And if that's the case, this is one of those classic situations where we all scoff when someone comes out with a piece of tech, because nobody, like, what are you supposed to do with that? Who wants it? And sometimes companies are wise to be opportunity-oriented, not goal-oriented. And they may say, look, we're going to put this out here and see what it's good at. We know it's going to be good at a lot of things. We don't know which thing it's going to be best at, but let's put it out there and find out. And then we'll iterate based on what people find. But the best beta tests are very often launching a product and having people try it.
Instagram now says that 200 million people use its Instagram stories feature each day, up from 150 million 4 months ago. At the end of 2016, Snapchat reported 158 million daily active users. That means that Instagram has right now got more people using its feature that is similar to Snapchat stories. Instagram added a selfie sticker and the ability to pin stickers to video stories, and expanded geo stickers to London, Chicago, Madrid, and Tokyo.
Yeah, they're already in New York and Jakarta. So now more cities around the world can put a sticker on their Instagram story that says where they are. I don't really know where to go with this. I feel like some of the tech press is using this as a little schadenfreude to a somewhat arrogant Snapchat towards the media. I don't think this is the death of Snapchat in any way, though. Do you?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think that for many people, Snapchat. Listen, Twitter and Facebook have both seemed to coexist while they were both exploding young companies. Instagram, obviously, now a part of the Facebook infrastructure. Snapchat, independent, but I don't see a reason why both can't continue to flourish. I think that they both serve somewhat different roles in people's lives. Instagram is far more about what you want to publicly display, whereas Snapchat is, its chat functionality will always be king over Instagram.
And Snapchat built its 150 million from nothing else, right? They launched, they got people to use it, and they kept going. Instagram is taking Instagram stories and leveraging not only a pre-existing Instagram base, which yes, they built from ground up, but has been around longer, but also, surfing in on a little bit on Facebook. So I don't know that these are apples and oranges comparisons.
Yeah, I also think that the bigger number that I would love to see from Instagram is how many pictures people are posting per day and whether or not the stories have upped that. Because I think that was their two big changes revolved around the idea that people were very precious about what they wanted to post on Instagram. You want to just have the one perfect thing where Snapchat, you can get very camera happy. And now with stories, it's like, no. Here's a great place to put it. No, we're going to curate your feed so you just don't dominate 6 photos in a row when you post it. You don't have to feel self-conscious.
Well, and that 200 million users could include a lot of people who just watch, right? It's both posting and viewing. So we don't know how many of these are posters versus viewers.
That means everybody could be both.
Yeah. Samsung said Thursday that pre-orders for the Samsung Galaxy S8 smartphone have now exceeded pre-orders of the S7. Sales begin in South Korea, the U.S., and Canada on April 21st. You combine this with the strong market for chips out there right now, and it looks like Samsung will definitely be on track for its best ever quarterly profit and staying on track for that record yearly revenue. And of course, again, this is one of the hot takes early in the year was Samsung is doomed.
Fake news. This is fake news. I knew for sure that after all those phones blew up, they were just finished. They got into that horse controversy with the it was just the death knell for Samsung. This can't be true. That a best in class, gigantic brand awareness Android phone would do well. What? This is insane.
I tell you what, I have to give Samsung credit. They have done yeoman's work in launching the S8 to reassure people that they are doing everything they can to be safe. And as you mentioned when we were talking about this in prep earlier on your Twitch channel, it's a little bit like the safest time to fly is after an accident, right? Because everybody's paying more attention. I don't think that's why people are pre-ordering the S8. I think people are pre-ordering the S8 because it's a really pretty phone. It's a great phone, and people's memories are short. When the Note 7 fiasco was happening, a part of me was like, people are not going to remember this. People don't remember the things that they should remember to secure their own accounts and be safe. Why would the Note 7 stop them from buying an S8?
Well, because also the Note 7 was a lot more of a media story than it was a real world story. There were more people that read about it on the news or saw it on the news that did not know somebody that this happened. The Galaxy S8, again, this is a flagship phone for Android. Aside from the Nexus and whatever Google will partner or come out with personally, this is going to be at the end of the year one of the biggest selling Android phones, if not the biggest that we see. So the idea that this will do well to me is not particularly surprising. However, as much as we want to say, hey, look at the trend lines, this was all here to begin with, should they have seen a softening, no doubt we would have blamed it on what had happened. And this is good news for them that they do not have to, this is officially them turning the page on what was a no good, horrible, very bad 2016.
Oh no, let me put a bet down right now. If Samsung calls their next phone the Note, and I think the calculus changes if they change the brand name, but it does look like they're going to have a Note 8 or some such type thing. That phone is going to undersell. And then people are going to have the hot take of, aha, it damaged the Note brand. And I don't think that will be why. I'd be very curious if someone could do the study to find out how many of these S8 purchasers are folks who wanted the Note 7, had to hand their Note 7 back in, and got some other Samsung phone or maybe credit, and decided, you know what, I want the S8. I really wanted a brand new phone with the Note 7, but I wasn't able to get it, so I'm going with the S8, and then won't buy the next Note because they just bought the S8.
All right. I'll tell you what. That's why you're the best in the biz, Tommy. That is a great point. Baidu has agreed to acquire the U.S. firm X Perception, which makes vision perception software and hardware with applications in robotics and VR. X Perception was founded by two former Magic Leap engineers. Side note, NBA star Andre Iguodala told CNET's Brian Tong in an interview that he tried Magic Leap, saying he was able to control things like lights and temperature by looking at them.
Now, man, I've got a severe allergy towards Magic Leap stories. So I just use this as a way to shoehorn in, first of all, Brian Tong getting to chat with NBA star Andre Iguodala.
Finals MVP, Andre Iguodala.
About the Magic Leap. And Andre just like, oh yeah, I tried that thing out. I'm probably not supposed to say all of this, but here it goes. That's hilarious. I don't think it means Magic Leap is any more or less vaporware than it was before, because plenty of VCs have basically intimated that they had the same demo. Did Andre give us a few more details about the demo? Sure. But that doesn't mean they're any closer to shipping a product. And it leads back to the actual story here, which is a couple of their smartest engineers have gone and started a software and hardware application company that got snapped up by Baidu. Baidu is very, I wouldn't say desperately, but very expediently pushing research that they have largely split between China and the U.S. They have a big research presence in the U.S. To come up with a thing that will be able to take over as their search engine income starts to level out, because Baidu's big problem is they're big in China and nowhere else. So they want to have products that they can sell worldwide. Everybody always talks about, Facebook needs to get into China. Apple needs to get into China. Google needs to figure out China. But also these Chinese companies need to figure out things outside of China too.
Well, and, there is, a real question that when you are not playing the home field advantage of, China wants Chinese companies to succeed. China will, if you listen to the laments of American companies, China will be protectionist to the fault of the consumers. The argument will be made for the American companies to ensure that companies like Baidu can continue to grow. This seems like, again, it's hard to say, oh, wow, you have Magic Leap on your resume. What exactly does that mean right now? The product seems impressive enough that Baidu wants to get in the game. I think that there's no question that this kind of software and hardware will continue to be relevant as we move more into VR and AR. However, I'll tell you what, it is on trying to rank Magic Leap as a resume item. I will say is far less of a Golden State Warriors, the team of Andre Iguodala, like their chances to win the NBA Finals this year, and more of maybe a Houston Rockets, or dare I say, a Los Angeles Clippers. Sure, it could be something really impressive, but right now it's fairly inconsistent, if not outright smoke and mirrors.
They Magic Leaped somewhere else, you might say. Finally, probably my favorite story of the day. Engineer Scotty Allen is someone who splits his time between the U.S. and China, spends a lot of time living in Shenzhen. And he goes to these markets where you can just buy parts, electronic parts of all kinds, and thought, you know what? I could probably build myself my own iPhone. I mean, I could build myself my own PC. Why can't I build myself my own iPhone? So he did. He went through and bought parts to assemble his own iPhone from scratch. Posted an explanation and a video on his website, strangeparts.com. He's also got a YouTube channel. Kind of feels like this guy's setting himself up to be the Anthony Bourdain of travel electronics assembly, if that is even a thing. And he's really good at it. He had to solder his own logic board at one point. He spent more than $1,000, much of which was on parts and tools that he didn't end up using because he was just experimenting, making it up as he went along. He estimates there are about $300 worth of parts in the phone that he ended up with. And if you're curious, he ended up building himself a 16 gigabyte iPhone 6S. And one of the reasons he said he chose the 6S was because he already had one. And he figured, well, this way I can compare it to the one I had. And in the end, he's like, I didn't end up really using the 6S for comparison. I was able to put it together on its own.
This is such a great story. And that log line that you just spit out about him being the Anthony Bourdain of computer tech, I'll tell you what, get that to a producer ASAP, because that is, I would watch that travelogue show. Just such a fascinating story, and really kind of an only in China kind of story, right? That there are these kind of parts that are just floating around. The best and the worst of Chinese manufacturing is that it's cheap, it's fast, the quality's gotten a lot better, especially when you're Apple and you can kind of mandate certain standards by the amount of money that you shove in. But at the same time, man, those parts are just kind of floating around, huh? Like there's really no, it's not like someone's, like it's not quite a lockdown situation, I guess.
Well, I mean, you disassemble a broken iPhone, break it up into parts, put it in some bins, you know. He ended up having to buy the processor. Which is probably one of the makes it a whole lot easier to get that operating system running. But yeah, it's in some ways I could see someone criticizing this and saying, well, he really didn't build it. He just you know, I could have taken apart an iPhone and put it back together and it's the same thing. But it was the hunt for the parts that makes this fun.
I mean, it's a fun, nerdy adventure story, and in my mind, we need more, not less of them.
Yeah. Well, here's to you, Scotty Allen. Well done. And I hope your future CNN show on travel electronics goes well. To get all the tech headlines each day in less than 5 minutes, folks, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com, the perfect companion to Daily Tech News Show. All right, another story floating around out there. Amazon's going to make the technology of its microphone array from the Amazon Echo available for free to approved manufacturers. So if you're trying to get Amazon voice services into a product and the microphone you're buying or developing just doesn't seem to be up to snuff, you can go to Amazon and they'll let you apply to get approval to use their design without having to pay a royalty. Developers Kit will work with leading chipsets, so you're not really tied down to one particular chipset out there. And the idea is just help companies who want to build in AVS. Now, go ahead.
This is such a smart idea, and it is Amazon really taking, I think, probably the first. I mean, aside from the Kindle, they dominated online retail, and then the Kindle was the next thing where they just owned it. Right, all of a sudden they were the only best in class e-reader until the iPad came along and played in that area. They're still the best value, and now with this AI revolution, for which is kind of exploding all around us, and has so many big players, they were not only able to create the device, like the new device where you just kind of plop it in the center of your house and now all of a sudden everything is connected to it, but are really, really, really committed to keeping their quality up, even if it means giving away their tech on the mic array to make sure that, hey, look, if you have the A word that we're not going to say so it doesn't trigger everybody's devices, then you should not be tarnishing the brand by having it be a lesser experience. It's so rad.
And it fits in with a lot of the things that Jeff Bezos was talking about in his annual shareholders letter, where Amazon, they don't care about monetizing the microphone array. They have a bigger dream. They want to own the land. They want everyone using Amazon voice services, even if they're not making money off a particular implementation of it. If people are in that ecosystem, then they're used to Amazon voice services. They're used to talking to Al, and
Yeah.
they'll be more willing to do so in other situations, which then leads them to be using Amazon services, which leads them to spending money with Amazon. In the annual shareholder letter, Bezos talked about how customers are always dissatisfied, right? How
Yep.
true is that? So if you try to meet their needs, you'll actually invent great things, like obsess about meeting the needs of these unable to be satisfied customers, and you'll come up with cool stuff. Don't get caught up in process and surveys and betas. Those are all proxies. Resist them. Keep serving the customer as the primary goal. Don't say, well, but I know the customer isn't perfectly happy, but the process is really good, because that doesn't matter. He says, identify big trends and hop on them. Don't be afraid. If you don't understand them, just do it. And here's the part that's the move fast and break things philosophy of Amazon. Make high velocity decisions. Don't get bogged down in discussion. You make a decision when you only have 70% of the info. Don't wait for 90% of the info. And when you make a mistake, correct it quickly, and keep going.
You know, this is what's made Amazon a really special company for years and years and years. And when you looked at their earnings, there was always this kind of trepidation, because they would invest very heavily back into their business, and their margins were nothing. There was another story about building an Echo for $60 worth of parts when you can buy a Dot for 40, right? And you look at that and you realize that either Amazon is selling these as a loss leader, or they are, surely that, just in terms of volume, they can make it for $39 and they're selling it for 40. And that is kind of the philosophy. Get it out there, get it in people's hands. You can, Amazon is obsessive about making it up on volume, and it's hard to argue with the amount of success, especially when you look at how hard it has been for other gigantic tech companies like Google, like Apple, like Microsoft to get into different areas that are radically divergent from their core strength. Very often we see, oh, here's another Apple failure because they tried to get into software and web services, right? And here's another Google failure because they tried to, deal with people as humans as opposed to, ones and zeros. And yet here is Amazon, the book people that not only have created all these new different services. Amazon Web Services is something that so much of what we do online is built on top of. Amazon Al is something that is very exciting, and I know for this year it was the default Christmas gift that I got for so many of my friends and family, because it was the rarest of all tech, the magical little device that my mom can use immediately.
I know. Well, my father-in-law, who's tech savvy. Okay, this is not a grandpa don't understand tech sort of story. He's a CAD designer. He designs pipes for nuclear power plants. The guy knows his tech. He didn't want to deal with Siri. He liked Siri, but he's like, I use it sometimes. We got him an Amazon Echo, and suddenly he's talking to it all the time. It just made more sense. And I think that is a piece of brilliance. And that goes back to a couple of the other things that Bezos said in this shareholder, is that Amazon considers itself a day one company. It's always day one. And so the Amazon Echo being successful, well, so okay, on day one you have a successful Amazon Echo already. What do? You get it in more places, and that's what they're doing with this microphone array. And what all the business types out there are looking at is, he says in the letter that you must disagree and commit. So get ready for this to become it's already getting buzzwordified. Disagree and commit will be the new halcyon call in Silicon Valley. The way Bezos describes it is, you have a team that's really convinced that one way is a way to go, and you disagree with them, and nobody really knows for sure. Just fine, disagree with them and commit to letting them do it. He talks about an Amazon original, he doesn't say which one, that his team really was into. He had a completely different opinion. He said, I don't think this is something people are going to be interested in. And finally, he wrote back, I disagree and commit and hope it becomes the most watched thing we've ever made.
No, we don't know. We don't know what it was, right?
Yeah, he doesn't go on to say what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is. I mean, you can already imagine the Silicon Valley television show episode wrapped up around create commit, right? Like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfectly kind of position for that. I mean, is there anything critical that we could say about this? Is there anything that feeds into maybe any negative elements of Amazon? That yeah, they are. They certainly whip around and try to make as big decisions as possible, but at the same time, the commitment to these, pleasing the customer has led to some flack for being a high burnout company, or that their fulfillment centers are maybe less than the less than. I mean, I don't want to. Humane is a whole thing, but like to work on Earth, I guess.
I think what we're seeing is Amazon is never satisfied. And for a lot of people, that's a horrible situation to be in. You will never have completed your work. You'll never get a sense of satisfaction if it's always day one, because you don't get day 7 or day 10. You don't get the final day and get to sit back and relax. And that is unsustainable over time. But, you could take these things too literally. I think when he says that it's always day one, it means we're always resetting. We're not resting on our laurels, to use an older phrase. And that's perfectly that's perfectly reasonable. But yeah, it can become a grinder where people burn out and get thrown away. And a lot of companies survive that way because they're like, great, when you're burnt out, leave. We'll replace you with someone young and fresh and cheaper.
And by the way, Ian in the chat room says disagree and commit sounds pretty passive aggressive. If you screw this up, it's your fault.
Well, no, that's the commit part. And I think that's actually part of the brilliance of the phrasing, which is, okay, I'm going to disagree with you guys, but I'm going to commit to you doing it, which is basically saying I'm not going to hammer you for it later. That's the important part of it. It's not disagree and sit back and wait for them to fail.
Yeah, it's not disagree and judge.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I've had that boss.
I think we've all had that boss.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So I think we might have had the same boss.
Yeah, maybe. Thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Just one email that I want to get to before we're out of here today. We were surmising, Rob Reed actually asked, he's like, wait a minute, do we know why they skipped Windows 9 when they went from Windows 8 to Windows 10? And Microsoft always been a little coy about it. They have never given a strictly acceptable answer. I've always believed it was just marketing. But David was among several people who wrote in and put forth what is a very reasonable explanation. I don't know if it's the actual explanation, but it could be part of it. According to Reddit user who purports to work for Microsoft, looking for Windows 95 and 98 will return often Windows 9. So if you're looking for a Windows version, you may just say, look for Windows 9X, and then that'll tell you if it's Windows 95 or 98. And that if you did Windows 9 as an operating system, it would cause all kinds of problems with that. So they just skipped past it to go to 10.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a way to auto-detect with old software. Honestly, how much software is really still looking for Windows 98 at this point?
I mean, also, it's like, how hard would that have been to write around too, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it could have caused problems. You just would have had to come up with a different version name. And I could see that being in a meeting where someone's like, wait, that could cause some problems with, the scripts that will look for Windows 9. Like, oh, okay, well, we'll just call it Windows OS 9. And then, well, if we're not really going to call it Windows 9, why don't we just call it Windows 10? That'll make things simpler. So,
yeah, they could have, I don't know. Maybe they should have went with Roman numerals.
Yeah. I think this certainly could have played a part. I don't think it's the single reason, but it is intriguing. So thank you everybody who wrote in with that tip, and thank you Justin Robert Young for being on the show. This is great. I think we solved all of Amazon's problems for him. Jeff Bezos, checks in the mail to us, right?
Listen, I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm going to commit to thoughts on the show. Thank you so much as always for having the pleasure of my week.
What's been going on? What do you got to tell folks about?
Oh, hey, I'd like to tell people this. If you have heard of The Contender, the game of presidential debate, the card game that I wrote with my team there, we have to celebrate Thomas Jefferson's birthday. We have now offered free shipping through the end of the week. You can go ahead and go to thecontender.us, Buy whatever you're going to buy, and you get free standard shipping throughout the United States. Get it while it's hot. Mini expansion, full expansion, the base deck, whatever we got, you have it too for free standard domestic shipping. Boom. Offer code Jefferson. Jefferson.
A lot of people don't realize that Thomas Jefferson was one of the early forefathers of free shipping.
Indeed. True fact. Thomas Jefferson's my favorite American president, and one of my favorite facts about him. Often credited as the first wine fanatic in America. He was a huge proponent of the idea that American wine could rival the quality of French, Spanish, and Portuguese wine. And it was not until after he was long dead and there were some more modern advancements. But gosh darn, he was right.
Well, they had to conquer California and take it from the Mexicans. Then, by golly.
That was Jefferson's final smile from heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, just real quickly, folks, if you are someone who has been interested in my novel Pilot X, the sci-fi novel, and wanted a signed copy of it, shelfawareness.com has given away 10 free signed copies of Pilot X to people who sign up for their newsletter. So the newsletter is a great newsletter. It just talks about great new science fiction books and fantasy books every week. So if you sign up, you get entered to win. If that sounds interesting to you, we'll have the link in the show notes, or you can go to shelf-awareness.com. Big thanks to everybody who supports this show directly. We operate on the value for value model as pioneered by Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak over at No Agenda. If you get some value from the show, we just ask that you give a little value back at patreon.com. Big thanks to Joe Knoll, Chelsea Novak, Mike Weissman, and all the folks, all 4,000 plus folks who are helping us out at patreon.com/DTNS. We literally could not do it without you. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv, and our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow, talk a little Ryzen with Lloyd Case. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
As Thomas Jefferson said, Frog Pants hopes you've enjoyed this program.
Or
Diamond Club.
Pirates.
Say that again?
He also fought pirates.
He fought pirates?
Well, he battled the Barbary pirates. It was the first time in American history that a president dedicated the American Navy to protect trade routes, to protect the American economy.
Ah.
Oh, that's the Marine Corps. You know, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli.
The shores of Tripoli. That was the Barbary pirates. Yeah,
and that's where they got the Marine Corps. The sword that they have is an ornamental sword, but that was given. The original one was given to I think it was the commandant, whoever was leading the mission, as a sign of respect. Very interesting. I mean, there's so many things that spun out from that.
I was writing a one-man show about somebody who was a disgraced Thomas Jefferson trivia master. And it was a one-man show where I was disgraced Thomas Jefferson trivia master, and found out about why he was in this like dead end bar or whatever, but it would be peppered with all these true Thomas Jefferson facts.
Oh, nice.
So,
I'm laughing at some of these titles here.
Apple watches my sugar.
Yeah, and Gurgle Earth.
Gurgle Earth, no Nintendo for you. Apple health band. The apple is in the pudding. Talking to Al AI.
Oh, Al or AI? Yeah, it works either way.
Keeping up with the steamers. An apple a day keeps diabetes away. Well, diabetes is a lifelong condition. It doesn't really go away. You just manage it.
Now you've ruined that title.
I'm sorry. It's As a person who's known many close people who have diabetes, it's not something you
It was
share.
just an attempt to do an apple a day joke, Roger, and now look what you've done to it.
Depending on the glucose level, maybe an apple might not be the best thing.
Fine, I get it.
No Nintendo for you, Tom.
No, there won't be. I played the classic. My brother-in-law has it, and it was really fun. But I don't know that I needed to have it after I played it a little bit. I'm like, okay, that was a fun trip down memory lane.
I mean, like, couldn't they just give you a virtual console that you play on your Switch? Right?
I mean, yes, but then they couldn't sell you an item. But maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe they're just going to come out with the virtual console service for the Switch, and that's why they're stopping
I
selling.
mean, isn't that what? They.
But you don't get the little mini thing that looks like the NES, right?
Guess
That's
what? It's
part of the
really not
nostalgia
an
hit.
NES. It's still emulating whatever.
I know, but it's the nostalgia hit. Is you've got the form factor. That's kind of fun.
That wasn't the same size. It's just a mini version of it.
Right. And because you're older now, things look smaller.
Nostalgia only works on Elvis commemorative plates and those coins that you get minted by that.
Apparently not. They're selling a lot of these things. All right, what are we going to call this, actually?
Apple Watch is my sugar. Gurgle Earth is funny. I like that.
I like Apple Watch is my sugar. That's pretty good. Talking to Al is pretty good. Justin, do you have an opinion?
Let me take a look here.
Hurry up.
Did you get big voice issues with me during the show?
Yeah, when you talk fast, it starts to clip out syllables.
Oh man, that sucks.
It feels like it almost sounds like a connection issue, but your video's fine. So I'm like, there must be something else going on, like some kind of audio compression or ducking or
yeah, that stinks.
Do you use an actual audio compressor?
I think yes, but I mean it's the same board that I've had for on this show. I kind of just like no Nintendo for you.
No Nintendo for you.
I just like that aggressive.
No Nintendo for you.
I think we all like that one, so let's go with that. No Nintendo for you.
Oh,
a well-placed comma changes everything. A man builds his own iPhone. Don't wait on me. No Nintendo for you. I have to change the YouTube description.
Nintendo for you.
We do reviews. Nintendo should get They just need to come out with a new Game & Watch, except it'll be like a smartwatch. Or a Game & Watch? Nintendo Game & Watch? No, you don't. No one remembers.
What?
The Nintendo Game & Watch.
No.
The little handheld units they used to sell back in the...
It was a watch?
So the Nintendo Game & Watch was a series of little portable handheld LCD games. Very simple, but they were based off IP properties.
So they were single game.
Yeah, but they had.
I'm looking at one now. Okay, no, I don't remember this. Like they had a Tetris one.
Oh, I had like three. I had Donkey Kong Jr.,
Ninja Gaiden,
and then there was Parachute.
Donkey Kong. Yeah, no, I never had these.
That was a big thing when I was growing up. Like in first and kindergarten, first grade, everyone's like, did you get this, get that? You could tell who had the better family by what they would pay or buy for their offspring.
I had all Mattel handheld Mattel.
Well, see, this is the great thing is it was one step better because it wasn't just little red dots like the Merlin.
I remember they had the little mini arcade versions of Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, I had one of those. I also had the old Coleco Zaxxon in that.
Yep. I didn't have those, but I remember those.
You had the red one. Yes, beef. in the chat room. They were very similar to Tiger's handheld games from the 90s. But they were very successful, and if you want to know where the Nintendo control scheme came from, it came from those games. So cross the buttons.
Up, down. Oh wait, that's Konami. You heard about the Bank of Canada put a Konami code on its website.
On the website. Yeah, but it's just for the 150.
I know, but it was cute.
I didn't realize the country was so. Actually, I did realize the country was that young.
You knew. When's Jen Cutter coming back? Speaking of Canada,
next Friday. She's recuperating from a rather physical hockey match.
Oh, really?
Oh, Jesus.
Is she in the Stanley Cup?
Is she into it, or is she in it?
Yeah.
She told me at one point she was in the running for the Canadian Olympic women's hockey team.
Oh, that's cool.
Back when she was younger.
It's like Becky Worley was on the U.S. Women's Rugby World Cup team.
Man, she is hardcore in that game. I remember when we used to have those Tech TV picnics, and she would play. Man, people went away injured playing against her.
Dude, people who are really into rugby, like, it's a different level of intensity.
Yeah, it really is.
Flannel on your bed.
Yes.
That's just a flannel shirt? It's not like there's nothing?
There's nothing in it. I took it off before the show for some reason.
It's creature.
I was actually going to use it as part of a new Danielle Steele cover.
A reference.
No one gets that reference.
A Night in Flannel.
No one gets that.
K-N-I-G-H-T.
She's still even alive? I mean,
does Danielle Steele, she still sell well?
I mean, does she still write?
I don't even know if she puts out new books.
Holy crap, because she's still alive. Oh, wait. No, she's pretty young. 69. She's not that old.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to mention real quickly a couple of emails post-show. We're getting emails in response to the post-show now. I sort of quickly mentioned Alan Char said he enjoyed the discussion about Tex-Mex cuisine. And he said, from what I understand, just about everything that people think of as Mexican food is actually Tex-Mex. Burritos, enchiladas, hard shell tacos, chimichangas, nachos, chili con carne, with an emphasis on more meat, shredded cheese, and flour tortillas.
Flour definitely is very Tex-Mex.
He also says in official Texas chili competitions, you can't use beans.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, it's not considered chili.
And Bill Burlingame said when his wife and he moved to Phoenix in 1960, they spent about 15 years there. The Mexican food they were introduced to was somewhat different. What everyone now calls burritos was called burros. I never heard the term burrito until the chain restaurants came to the area. Burros were served with a topping. So like wet burritos, basically. They were eaten like one would eat a hot dog. If you wanted them served with a topping, you would ask that they be served enchilada style.
Not mojado is what the local menu calls it.
Like wet. Piso mojado is wet floor. Of course, I know from
many a janitorial sign.
Many janitorial signs.
That's right. I remember.
That's totally. Mojarse is to get oneself wet.
Mojara,
he will get wet.
I'm trying to think, like, what's their equivalent of like a schnitzel in Mexican cuisine? It's
La Schnitzel, El Schnitzel.
No, it's more Italian sounding name. I mean, every country around in Central Europe has a version of it. But I like those, and I like the cut steak. Are fajitas Mexican at all, or is that Tex-Mex too?
I don't know. Well, and as Ian rightly points out, Mexico is a big country. Like, there's lots of regional foods too.
There's Yucatan Peninsula food.
Los Cantaros is particular to a region, and I can't remember which one now. But they're
the Cantaro region.
They market everything as served Mexico City style. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, for example, if the Mennonites the Mexican Mennonites have a particular cuisine. I can imagine their food probably wouldn't change so much.
It's a lot of German food in Mexico too, because there's a lot of German.
A lot of German. There used to be there's a region of Mexico that used to be known as New Sweden, but I don't know if there has any Swedish cuisine influences. Chorizos. I love chorizo, especially in the morning. Huevos rancheros.
Smells like victory.
So good. Can't be good for you. It's too good. Only food that is slightly blander and more green looking is healthy for you.
All right. Well, folks, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for joining us. We will be back tomorrow with more amazing daily tech insights. Join us, won't you?
Who's on tomorrow?
Lloyd Case.
Lloyd Case is going to be in. He's going to talk about Ryzen chips because he's been covering them real closely.
When's Kitchen getting back from his
I don't know. He popped in the chat room the other day, said it was 3 a.m, but he missed us. So I know he's alive.
I don't know. He hasn't responded to my emails, so
he added me to a Snapchat group, and periodically I just get random pictures from around the world.
Yeah,
like the beach. Like, oh, sucks to be you.
He's having a good time, man.
I'm having a good time.
He deserves it.
That's what the Snapchat is. Aren't you jelly?
Yeah, no, it was the last one I got was fireworks exploding over the Sydney Opera House.
Man, he is.
Well, I don't know how much of this.
Come back when you're ready, Darren. We're here for you when that
Here
time comes.
Darren. Ahoy.